And so, friends, we come to the close of this service, but as we close, it says in our liturgy that I should give a State of the Church update. And I have to say, I came up with that name, and now I hate that name because I feel like the stakes are too high when that is what is going on. I am a servant of this church as one of your three pastors, and I can give an update to you about what we've been working really hard on. Council members, elders, deacons, staff, pastors, we've continued to work very hard, as many of you have. We continue to think about what this church looks like heading into the fall, and I wanted to give you that update. If I had a do-over, I think that's what it would be. What's happening this fall? And so I want to share with you what's happening this fall. And we're going to talk about a few things, and worship, faith formation, some stewardship things, and just some logistical items. But first I want to say, like everything with this pandemic, we want to continue to have a fully engaged ministry at the Ann Arbor Christian Reformed Church heading into the fall. And to do that, we need three things. We need flexibility, we need creativity, and we need grace. We need these three things from one another as we plan, as we maybe have to change those plans, as we have to undo those plans, as we have to do all of the things that happen in the right now. We need flexibility, creativity, and grace. I rejoice to tell you that I've already seen a lot of those three things within this faith community. And so it's no doubt in my mind that those three things will continue as we move ahead. So I want to talk about worship a little bit. We can acknowledge that if we're here at 1717 Broadway, we miss our brothers and sisters who are not with us. And if you're at home, I don't care how comfy the couch, how high quality the coffee, we know we'd all rather be together. And I want to tell you that is the goal. When it's safe, when we can, we want to be back here. The church is a gathering of the faithful. And boy, do we want to gather again. And I want to let you know that the elders, the shepherding elders, the pastors, and staff are all having regular conversations about how we can do that. And we're really grateful for all of the health professionals that we bother all the time. And I'm just so thankful that we can come together as a team with regularity and discuss what that might look like. For right now, we're worshiping online. And for right now, we're going to be worshiping with no one or limited people in the building, only those that are executing services. We're going to keep reevaluating that decision, and as soon as we can, we will figure out how we can begin to invite people back to the building. In the meantime, though, the elders would like for you to consider that we know worship is great when you can be with other people of faith from this community. And so, if you are comfortable, the elders want to provide an opportunity through the vehicle of house groups for you to gather on a Sunday morning. Many of us are in house groups. That's the small group ministry of the Ann Arbor Christian Reformed Church. And so our house groups are going to stay the same from last year into this year. So if you're in a house group and you're like, well, I don't know anything about my house group. Yes, you do, because you were in it last year. It's the same one. You have the same facilitator. And if you're not in a house group yet, I want you to reach out to a few different people you could reach out to. You could reach out to your elder. You could reach out to me, to Ross Wayner or Rachel Redder, our staff persons and our office people. We will find a home for you in a house group. And what we want to commend to you that until we can meet again in person safely, while it's warm outside, maybe you would consider meeting in your house group for Sunday worship. Gathering outside, distanced, masked up, however you need to do that, taking all of those precautions, and you can worship together. You can join Paul as he sings a song. You can join Pastor Noah as he sings a song. You can join us in our prayers of confession. You can join us and reflecting on the Word that way. And you can also join one another in doing that work together. Maybe that's something you'd like to do, and if so, we really want to commend that to you as an opportunity. This fall, we are going to be your pastors are going to be going through the book of Acts. I referenced it earlier in the sermon. Acts is a great story of an early church trying to figure things out in the middle of a lot of transition in their world. There was pandemic, and there was persecution, and there was upheaval, and there was change, and we don't know anything about those things, but the church in Acts, they had to deal with a lot of the changes, a lot of the situations we're talking about right now, and are pressing for us. And the church of Acts grounded itself in the mission that they received from Jesus Christ, and were led into brand new territory and led into the unknown by the power of the Holy Spirit. So we're going to reflect on those stories, because that's our story. And we're going to figure out together where God is calling us to be, and we're going to follow faithfully. So that's going to be the sermon series. That's also going to be your house group materials. So as you go forward, a chance for us to gather and ponder some questions together about what's God asking of the church right now. So we want to make sure that you get involved in that. Second thing I want to mention is faith formation. Because as we're used to at the Ann Arbor Christian Reformed Church, right after Labor Day, we get to welcome a bunch of people into new programming. A new group of second graders come up for GEMS or cadets. We get to welcome people into preschool church hour or Kid Connection, our Sunday school program. All these wonderful things. We as adults get to start in a new season of discipleship ourselves with Big House Sunday or with house group ministry or with other volunteer opportunities that we enjoy, or discipleship opportunities that we enjoy. And I just want to tell you, we, again, are planning a fully engaged ministry fall, but it's not going to look the same, which is why we need that flexibility, that creativity, and that grace. For our children and for our youth, I just want to say we have program leaders who are working so hard to come up with great plans for how they can still build relationships and build faith with our children and with our youth. I know that cadets and GEMS are planning some things, and all of the program leaders are going to be reaching out to you. So if you're involved in those programs and you're like, great, Pastor Ryan's going to give us the whole thing. No, I'm not. Your program leaders are going to give it to you because they'll give it to you better than what I could do right now. For Kid Connection or for Sunday school, our denomination, Faith Alive Resources, as part of that, has come up with an amazing Dwell Flex program. And so you can find that on the CRCNA website, a link to that, and you can discover what that's about. But we're going to be doing that. So from home and with family, you get to engage with your kids, if you have the kids that age, and you can participate in that great curriculum and continue to form the faith at the same time as others form their faith in this community. I'm here to tell you that our Roots leaders for middle school are continuing to think about how they can walk alongside relationally with our students. Our Reach leaders are going to continue to do that for senior high as well. Your pastors are working on, and almost done, I need a little more time, to get done a fully online profession of faith curriculum, because it's that year again. So a series of videos will be coming out that students can work together. And maybe parents, you need to brush up on that profession of faith. It's a little Heidelberg for you too. You can do that. You can join them in that video series, and you can participate that way. And so we're planning a lot of great programming for our children and youth. And while we have said, we can't gather in the building until the end of 2020, that decision also, like every decision, is something we're constantly evaluating. But saying that early for that amount of time gives our program leaders a way to plan and program well for their students, for their children, and for all of us. Some things that are happening on the adult side. Again, house groups, if you're not in one, elders, staff, office, reach out. Let's put you in one so that we can be discipled in this season. I also want to commend to you women's study. they're still taking new names and looking for people to join them. They've got a book study planned, and it's a great one by Kate Bowler. So I want to commend that to you as well. Also, I want to point to you that some creativity, some flexibility, and some grace has also already been happening around here. I know that Friendship is not able to meet in the way they want, but I talked to some of the leaders of Friendship, and they're still reaching out to the St. Louis Center and in contact. Because of course we love our friends. And Men's Wednesday morning Bible study is still meeting outside in our parking lot because they still want to be discipled and they still want to have the fellowship, flexibility, creativity, and grace. And so there's lots of opportunities for you to both come and be involved, and there's a lot of ways in which people are working really hard to stay involved at the AACRC. We're so thankful for that. And I want to share also just some logistical things, and that is that Jim Wagner, our custodian, and his team are still here making sure that this building is constantly cleaned. So for staff, if you do need to come into the building, if you need to drop something off, if you need to get something, we know that this building is still needing to be open to do some tasks. You need to be assured that when you walk in here, this building is clean and it's a safe place for you. And the church office will continue to be open through the fall on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And no, that doesn't mean that your staff gets a 2-day work week. We're trying to angle for that. Council's not going for it. Just kidding. We're not angling. But work is being done, and on Tuesdays and Thursdays, you can find Rachel Redder at her post, being welcoming as always. And so if there's something you need from the church here, or you need a phone call to the church office, Tuesdays and Thursdays are your day. And lastly, I just want to say something that has marked this church in this season so profoundly has been the thing of service. The way that we have engaged with the community over and over and over again. Donations to Hope Clinic, to Hesed Community Church, to Cohort Detroit, walking alongside some of our associate pastors that way, being an encouragement and prayer support to our local organizations, to hosting men for rotating shelter, and those relationships have continued. Thank you for being so faithful in that. When we talk about giving here at the Ann Arbor Christian Reformed Church, we like to talk about giving of time, talent, and resource. Time, talent, and resource. And through this pandemic, this church has given all three in ways that have overwhelmed and blessed this community. So thank you for that, and keep it up. Keep up that continued faithfulness of time, talent, resources. Remember the church in your giving. This is still a community that's doing a lot, even though we're separated by some distance right now. And we want to keep doing a lot, because there's a lot of organizations we partner with. There's a lot of work being done by people that normally are in these pews, but are right now out in the community doing work. So keep that up. And as always, may God bless us in all of those things.